laptop. So after.
Sure. Thank you. And how's today been for you? Yeah, well, then I had my haircut for 9:30. I was just sitting there.
Boys,
Hey, man.
how are we?
Good chart?
Ah, thank you.
You have an important business meeting.
I've got a dinner after. Yeah.
With whom?
Some bunch of friends. Yeah. Yes, actually.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Good for you. Did you dress up for that? That's nice.
I didn't suggest it, but they said let's dress up. So.
Wow.
It's a birthday dinner for Piero. No, sorry. I don't think it's actually. But I should check. I think it's the 7th.
It would have been yesterday.
Yeah.
I did not. Graduate. Where are you gonna go?
Sky Garden.
Do I know that?
You might. It's the gardens on the top of the tall skyscraper down in the city. And yeah, they have food as well, food and drinks, but you get the view of the city and like a garden in the sky. It looks really nice. Yeah.
How much did you end up getting?
I also can't remember everyone else on my head. But no, it's just like I got it. You be very cool. That was the first thing that I wanted to do in London. It's near that.
It is like
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any suggestions? Places to go? Like that. Like what do you do when you go to those? So it's a hacking, which is nice, but that's the point.
Just Alex.
It's not
Charles,
it's been
do you have an electric charger?
show us something. And why?
Do you know something?
Give it to you in like
Yeah, we have to.
Where you
We're this close to it on Saturday. Downstairs, when you go out, bro, it's
I said the Molybon. Where did we decide? I wanted to. I don't know what the last decision is. I got off the phone with Maria.
It's spicy. You're a chit chatter. I don't believe you.
Oh,
Adding wax.
You always say, you never do.
station will be more about building models.
Is a menace to society.
Today will be more about building models and gain more confidence in how to implement it in Excel, in Advanced, and also how to integrate results from simulation. Before that, let me just say a few words about homework. That is question 1. Most of you, I looked over some of your homework assignments, managed to figure out that if we increase the number of iterations, things get smoother distributed. So the 100 iterations are very many. It's better than 1,000, and when you have 10,000, it's just trying to meet basically we gain precision if we increase the number of iterations. More is better, same like the data analysis course. The larger the sample, the better your p-value, the smaller your confidence. Same story here. And in terms of question B, it asks you about what happens if we change the correlation. You usually found out that the correlation dropped here to minus 0.22 when you use the Excel function for it. And now if we remove the negative correlation, then we do the opposite than what happened previously when we added it. So as a result, the variation around your mean will get larger, a wider spread of distribution. The tricky question was then judging about the reliability of the data. So what did you write there? Then I have some thoughts. What did you write here?
I said it wasn't reliable because, first of all, you only have 25 data points, which is just
not many,
not a lot.
and only single
Second
months.
of all, it's only in December and in January that the data is taken, so essentially around the holiday period, which, first of all, is not representative of the entirety of the year. And we can also assume that people have less price sensitivity in this period because they need to fly to see whoever they want to see during the holiday period, as opposed to other periods where people might be booking flights depending on the price.
Textbook answer. Perfect. If you have written something like that, you get full marks.
Great.
Okay, so in this session I will start in the first half and go through two further examples of model building. And the first one is about a maker of ski jackets, which I named here Egress. And the background story is this. Egress is a maker of ski jackets. Long production lead times mean that we must determine the number of jackets to be produced for the winter season already in summer. So an early commitment, not going to demand for these deliveries. This is the same like with many fashionable items. There's only a very short period of time when they sell, but to launch a production of such an item, it needs a much longer planning period. It's the same with vaccination for the annual flu vaccine. You need to produce them in summer, not necessarily knowing how many will be requested by patients in winter. So, but this is about retail here, and we know a few things about this case. Specifically, it says here on the spreadsheet that Egress needs $80 as variable cost to produce each winter jacket. Quite a lot of money is spent of it, so it's high quality one. And they only sell it for $20 more, for $100 to their retailers. So you have an operating margin of $20. Now, if they don't sell it in winter, there is still the off-season market where they can dump it afterwards, but dumping is not great because you only make $30, better than nothing, but it's not what you want. And in addition, they have fixed costs of $100,000 they need to pay for. Now, they went to their marketing department, and the department said, well, we think you might sell around 12,000 this winter. That's what market research says, but we are a bit uncertain. We think it's normally distributed and assume a standard deviation of 3,497. Exactly. No more, no less. Don't know why. Anyway, so that is a normal distribution. And now you see some green fields where some Excel functions are missing. And I want you now to work in small groups and try to solve this problem and answer the question. If we set the production level to 7,800, only assume that 7,800, ignore the gray stuff on the side. What is the expected profit according to your simulation? And equally important, once you look at the distribution function of it, you will see it's not bell-shaped as usual, but looks a bit odd. And I want you to think about why does it look so odd. Now, I know there were some issues with installing at risk. I just got an email from ITC saying they have still 200 remote access applications which they don't really process as fast as hoped.
they also told me there are problems with multiple people logging on the same remote computer and then only one of them can get through. That's not ideal, not what I hoped, but we need to live with that this year, sadly. So please try to work in small groups. I hope that on my group of 3 or 4, where at least one of you has at-risk working. If there are some problems, I can reassign try to solve it. The worst case is on Canva, so you can download it. Use this template. Okay.
You have one?
At-risk version. Good. I don't really one of you in the fight.
All able to.
Let me try it.
Any question with
I
tried, I downloaded Windows on my Mac. So basically, if you have a Mac,
He has definite
But if he's then she can also.
I don't like
yes.
I'm gonna have to look at this quickly and then we put the thing together. Okay?
Right.
None of us can kill this. That's it.
Sir.
You don't know how to type that. Charlotte, do you have remote access to laptops?
Yes.
I do. Online Rodo has. Void. Notice the void.
We're all working together, right? We're working together, guys.
Actually, the man you're gonna have to I don't know actually what
The old.
Okay, so the question is
Data. No, that's really small. Egress, data, and
Bro!
Do you think I'm retarded? C'est ce que j'ai fait sur l'ordinateur, mais ça marche pas.
Did you assume a production level of 800?
Ça marchait pas tout à l'heure. Juan, c'est le bras cassé, c'est le maillon faible de l'autre.
One thing we know is that no, I think it's actually
This is like a he actually has
oh yeah, I've never had this issue before.
oh sorry.
So jackets.
Because I need to work on
But I'm already
computer.
in. But I do want to remote now. I just when I try to open risk, it
Ah, c'est minimum entre les PC et
How many? Okay. No, not gonna happen.
Okay, sorry, so
Sold minus production. No, sold chat. Production minus sold.
You can join us. Yeah, it's like access. Like everyone can access.
Only one.
Yeah, and now everybody's trying to access.
Actual demand, you have the mean.
okay, so you broke all of
Yeah, don't demand no demand enough, I guess. Right.
to make it 2 or 3.
Oh, there are many people actually.
Yeah, but I can get a work later. If the access yeah, but the good thing is he always will upload his solutions later on Excel and then numbers from here, right? So
Now when you do your stuff, demand strength, fixed cost plus variable cost times by
max 0, right? Are you sure that's the actual first one?
Yes, exactly. So that's fine.
Isn't the actual demand? The actual demand.
Yeah.
actual demand is
You cannot
11.
sell a negative amount of packets.
No,
You cannot sell more than is demand. You cannot sell more than you produce. You need to be careful what extra factors you use for salt checks.
Nothing to do with
We can go back to
So now the demand is higher.
I know what it
Unsold jackets. Still the same thing. Now we only sell what demand is. Unsold jackets, sold jackets.
Yes. No, maximum.
That's just for his possible.
it's always you do it's always you order level format.
You guys have found it out?
For the would it
We're having
You took the binomial or the normal?
non-normally distributed
Whatever it is.
Main
value one and
I'll send you everything. Is that good? Chris, you okay? Tomorrow we're gonna have this exam, right? I'm sure actually you come out and notice so
Actual demand is so you sell it for capacity.
when I wanna, yeah, because when I wanna.
Why would we have a sandwich factory?
simulate the model. And even output, right? It needs to know what the final things we want to do. Simulation. Yeah, of course. So I have to find an output. But this is just, you do that by just oh, you had the correct target. This is going to be like one value and then it's going to be
Oh, you're right.
so oh, this output.
I read the simulation and then sitting
Yeah. What do we got? Maybe you can.
No.
Yeah. It's for the output you do output define. Yeah, let's just
unsold jackets multiplied by the
you do that.
unsold jackets multiplied by
Like
risk here, risk
I would be late on Friday.
Sorry, risk normal io non posso farla perché non ho accesso
I think this one is maybe just ask it like, maybe don't ask me like what it's
Simulation.
This was like 3 tests, and I got sent to Harvard, and I got sent I would never go to Oxford.
Did you try following the instructions? Your body can automatically. Give it a try. I have no idea because I've done it on an Android before. I mean on a Windows before. Never really tried it.
I didn't do biology,
we just check
Go for another round?
no, but Italian's trying to people for dinner.
that you're gonna enjoy yourself.
Bring your phone. Bring your phone in.
Why are you not posting?
No, I want to watch my United.
I know, Leo's hosting. Sorry, I gotta Leo. It's fine. It's
What did you do? Strain your ankle?
I see my other friends.
Mr. White.
I haven't seen them later. Maybe you can.
That's just nice.
It is.
What we do?
Oh, you got some petardi in
Pasta.
my boy,
to make some.
J'avais quelqu'un qui m'a coupé les
I live 10 meters away from the fence house.
2,000 meters increments. I requested access to it. So I'm waiting for them to get back. Did you request access to it?
What, the revenues?
So you have conversations.
How do you do it?
We're starting talking to
Session 1.
We started talking to the sound.
How do we get to distribution? All the production after fruity.
West Coast has served less nights.
Have you ever seen in the US?
That makes sense. Here's the US, you're Mexico. If we get the solution of profit,
But then to the right it says considered production guidance.
maybe just change it. Okay, so we have to run extra.
But that's not the good production. Because you want to understand what's going on first.
I'm not surprised. Alessandro looks like a teen.
He's like a depressed, divorced English teacher.
I would just look it up in Spanish. You can
Inter's playing and they don't play Inter. My roommates are Inter fans. I was taking out all the games. All the games.
If you put in the menu, put in the ice.
Yes, you went to China doing headshots. push and jump in each other.
The highest probable possible is for this production.
This is 12,000, right? This production.
There's something else you can teach me after.
Yeah.
Most of you I saw figured out how this looks like. So the key thing you can either use for this one an if function or a min function. Either solution works, and I think almost all of you managed to find out how to do that. And total distribution has this very odd shapes then if you when you simulate it. It looks like this here.
Yeah.
Where does this come from? Anyone can enlighten us. Where does it come from? Can you explain it? Yeah, anyone? Can you explain why we get this odd shape? Right. Anyone here? Why did we get this odd shape? Okay, help us.
I think it's because we defined an upper constraint of function operator.
Yes, that's correct.
7,800.
Yes, our upside is constrained, the right word. Because we only produce 7,800, and if the demand is higher, we can't really unlock this higher demand. When you look at the distribution of the production of the actual demand, forecast result, you see that 7,800 is somewhere here. In most of the cases, the demand is higher according to our normal distribution. You can in fact calculate it exactly if you move the range, similar like how it was explained in the NovaDuct example. At the top, you can even change the number here exactly to 7,800. We see here that in 11.5% of the cases the demand is lower, but in 88 points, in 88.5% the demand is higher, and we can produce this much. That raises, of course, the question: can we do better? Can we produce a more appropriate number, which might increase our expected value? And there is a solution for that, which is easy to do in NetWiz. Yes, of course, we could manually plug in different numbers here, 7,800, all the other options here. If you do that manually, it will take you about 15 minutes. That's a bit too long. There is a quicker solution in NetWiz, which uses a function called risk sim table. Don't worry, I have the next slide the instructions how to do this. Risk sim table, and I write down this command, mark my 13 considered production levels in gray here. Press OK. And now I have 13 different simulations I want to run. One for each of these production levels. Every time we have 1,000 iterations, but we need to tell at risk now there are 13 of these. So we need to replace the 0 with the 13 in this display. And then I can simulate that. Don't worry, I'll let you carry out this afterwards yourself. When you simulate, you see now it takes more time. 5, 6, 7, 8. It takes 13 repeats of this, every time with a different production level. And what we can do now is
to go to reports, and remember there was this little result summary button in the NovaDuck case. Either this small button here, or if you can explore result summary, it's the same one. What we see now here is what we see now is here, it's very small, the mean profit for our 13 different production levels. It starts at 42,000, that's what we had in the base case, and gradually increases, reaches its maximum for simulation 5, where the profit is 3 times 56,884, and then it goes down again. So we increase our production level, and that's the optimum here, in terms of maximizing profit expectation. But of course, the more we produce, the higher our risk is that we produce too much. And you see the standard deviation as a measure of risk goes up too. Now we don't quite know what is Sim5 actually referring to. So it's the 5th simulation, and what we need to do in at risk is simply count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that means if we set the production level to 10,000, then we maximize our expected profit. So I would like you to try this risk sim table out yourself. I have here on this slide the instructions how to go about it. If you had a working version of the eQuest example, just use this. You can continue using that. But alternatively, if you wasn't quite right, you can also download the correct one now on template 2 as template 2 to use. Either way, it's not good. So just try to replicate it and make sure you know how to do it, because tomorrow in the group assignments, the risk sim table command will be required. So make sure you all know how to do it. Okay, let's go.
Okay, I get like removing like some of the answers to the questions that he asks. Don't remove the instructions to how to answer the questions.
I've already done that, bro.
Oh, nice.
Do we have multiple of them?
Oh, you ready? Where? Result summary. Result summary. Explore. Why are you hijacking like I don't know what they expect us to do. Go check the expected.
And before that, I had like a little worried about the upcoming assignment. Was that on the first one? Yeah, you did on me. I did.
Why did you do one but not one? That makes
One of those things.
One B was sweet.
I'm surprised. I thought it would be higher than that. I thought it would be closer to 12,000.
No, if I were you. Now
We have two people.
Explore.
You like that? Bro, yeah, that was the only chance. Bro, from under elected, but no way. Bro, we should have It was a cop.
On va chercher un code. On va chercher un code de la réponse. Direct dans les trucs. La famille de ma meuf, elle peut faire ce que c'est pas une compétition. Si vous parlez de quoi, de venir chercher au code. Les frères, en vrai, tu penses dans les codes, il y aura une photo de ta meuf ou pas?
My favorite part to cook. I have to master the
Bon, par contre, la meuf, toujours, il faut qu'on ait conversation avec elle. Elle prend avec toi surtout moi. L'autre, tenemos de hablar.
Oh my god, bro, this
phone charger is probably like 15, 20 watts. This is like 65 watts. It's not even Italian.
Bon.
This is disgusting. Yeah, butter and cheese. What is zero?
Are we fine? Are we good?
We didn't know I was gonna get a fucking check.
Ouais. Donc, ça dépend.
Yeah, because like
Yeah. Why is there so much uncertainty?
So I have the feeling most of you figured out how to go there. If you don't have any questions, some of the tutors are happy to help you after class lunch break. I personally find it more interesting because I do research in healthcare, so I wanted to pick at least one topic on this. And the focus is this time on operations management problems. Simulations are very frequently used in operations management when you want to, for example, see how patients flow through an administrative system or how machines work together, and that it's all of the very random process of these individuals. And here in this case, the randomness has to do with surgeries. The case here is you are putting together a 5-hour surgery session dedicated to one type of surgery. So you have a 5-hour session, and in this session you have brought together the surgeons, the co-surgeons, the scrub nurses, the technician, the anesthetist, some trainees perhaps. So about 7, 8, 9 people together. And of course you booked this very top-of-the-art room. So it's quite expensive. You put them together for 5 hours. They're booked. Now you also have surgeries you want to assign to it. And it says here, a surgery takes on average 1 hour. So if we put this in, we manage in one surgery session 5 surgeries. Wonderful. If we use the average. However, it says here then, the surgery dosations randomly vary between patients, and you are given historic data for 50 of these surgeries. Now, that's normal because each patient is a bit different, have different kind of anatomic things which the surgeon has to consider, and the surgeon is not always equally speedy. The problem is that both finishing earlier and finishing later are undesirable. So that is finishing later, so some of these surgeries took longer, and we are exceeding the 5 hours of the session, but of course the opposite can also happen. So, question for you. Why is it bad not hitting these 5 hours thing? Why is it bad to overrun the session? Why it's bad to finish earlier? Think about the context.
Because you don't utilize like the full 5 hours.
In this case, yes, that is not great. Currently, the elective waiting list at the NHS is about 2 years. They are desperate to operate people because they don't have enough surgeons, they don't have enough operating theaters. This is a waste from an operational perspective. But why is this a problem too? Because management says it's a problem, that it is a problem. Well, okay. That is one step ahead. I hope management has a reason why they say it's a problem. On the right. Yeah.
Maybe this takes like 30 minutes of the operation time for another patient that can be served. And if you have multiple patients like that, we can lose like a whole session.
That's true. So basically, you have often a morning session and the afternoon session. And if the morning session overruns, the afternoon session starts late, and you have these knock-on effects which are not helpful. Any other reasons? Isabel?
Because you work over, you get this.
Yeah, it's a good argument. If surgeons work a long time, they get tired. They make mistakes, and mistakes in healthcare are a safety concern. Yeah, no problem.
In a practical way, maybe you have to pay the surgeons over time as well.
Bingo, overprice. You need to kind of payment for X hours. It's less a problem in the UK because they have usually a contract and employment. But in the United States, where the surgeons are paid by the hour and very nicely by the hour, overtime costs is a higher charge. Yes.
I think also when some surgeries are longer than the other, it also puts a disrupted view on the average duration for the surgery. For example, if all other surgeries are, let's say maybe 1 hour and one surgery is like 1 hour 30 minutes, it's an outlier in the entire thing. And raise off the average, the average becomes slightly tilted because of that outlier.
Let me come back to that later. It's a bit complicated what you're saying, but it's not completely wrong. Any other thoughts, final ones? Let me give you silver. Ah, you have the one. There is a problem with patients. Slightly different is if this thing really runs over time, and there might be some emergency cases also coming in, and you have the pressure of the next session to start, you might have to cancel a patient. And that's not great because the patients are all geared up to get a life-changing surgery. They are waiting for things to happen. Then you come to them, sorry, come back next week. They are probably very angry on you. So it's also about the patient experience. And then also about staff experience. They might have other plans after the session. For example, collecting their children from childcare. And if they are 2 hours late, the nursery is not happy. So there are lots of problems. And the reason why I ask you this is what is different compared to all our previous examples is there is not a single objective. Previously it was always the net present value you want to maximize or some costs to minimize. What are we maximizing or minimizing here? So management basically ended up to make a trade-off of all these different objectives, and often these trade-offs end up in formulations like this. It's not an absolute rule, but more in kind of a relative rule
that here in this case, not more than 10% of the surgery test should be more than 30 minutes over time. That's the best you can offer. Typical healthcare, you find this NHS called the standard, has about 56 of those. Way too many. Anyway, so the question is, how many surgeries should you schedule? Should you stick with the 5, which seems to work on average wonderful, or rather go for 4, which don't utilize, of course, the capacities as well, but you have higher likelihood of meeting the standard, this target. And if you get asked this question, how would you approach it? What would be your first thought when you see this here? Just you, so let me pick you.
Yeah, we would have an optimal, like if suppose this is a basket, we would keep the optimal surgeries. We would likely identify which surgeries are more likely to take lesser time and with
same kind of surgery, all the same.
All the same.
Yeah.
And so they might have some differentiating factor that makes some of the surgeries go over time and some go.
But you don't know the part you open it after, only then you realize. So no, but
I'm not sure, but I could look at the costs. Yeah, difference of cost or benefits from the two.
I'm hoping you said data, because you previously said something about data. What we want to know about is, it says here, you're given historic data for 50 of these surgeries. How does this data look like? That's probably in order to model that we have information given, and we want to make use of it. Isabel.
I would take, let's say, for example, data about the age of the patient and his overall state of health, because I think that you will have less complications if the patient is healthy, let's say, he or she doesn't smoke and don't have, for example, I don't know, let's say, heart problems. So, but even though, I think it's a very good question because you never know when you begin a surgery, how long it's going.
Exactly, you never know.
Right?
What you try to do is risk stratification. It's a good way to go about it, but that's next level stuff. That's not part of this course. You want to say something, so.
Yeah, the data. So we use the data to identify the likelihood of how much is the surgery going to go above the other one. So we look at the standard deviation from the mean.
Standard deviation. Okay, you want to calculate the standard deviation and the mean of each surgery.
I want to calculate the mean of all the 50 surgeries, the mean time, as he said, the 1 hour. So
Yeah.
when we put 1 hour in the
Okay,
middle.
you get 59 minutes and 59.94 minutes. Yes, it's me.
Yeah, and then we're going to identify where all do the other surgeries.
So
are,
how they
what
are
is it.
spread basically.
Yeah.
Standard deviation.
Yeah.
So mean and standard deviation. Oh, you still want to say something?
Yes, maybe we should look on average of these 50 surgeries. How many of these 50 were late, and by how much? So if they were, I don't know.
It's not about the surgeries, it's about the whole session. A surgery cannot be late because it takes as long as it takes. It's a session. But I heard you want to basically calculate the mean and the standard deviation of each surgery session. And if you do that, you make an assumption. Your assumption is,
Normally distributed.
Yeah, that's normally distributed. And this assumption might be wrong. So there might be outliers which make it a different shape, as you said. So let me show you here the data. And here's the data of these 50 operations, and we see the minutes, how there's 63 minutes, some 73, some only 30 minutes. And if we go in at risk, there is the option at risk, fit the distribution, fit. Don't worry about following my steps here. And I want to compare now which of our 3 distributions we have learned about might fit best our data. There are lots of distributions at risk you probably never heard about, Laplace, logistic, local normal, other stuff, not relevant to this course. Only the normal distribution, the triangular and the bible distribution, is what we look at here. And press OK. And now at risk shows me for our data what we have here, the 3 observations. So this is our histogram of the 50 observations, and we fit the distributions over it. So clearly we see a uniform distribution seems to be not a good fit. It's not a box. So we can rule that out. And then we have still 2 options. The normal distribution and the triangular distribution. Those seem to be all right. Could do either of them. At risk has here, it orders them by a goodness of fit measure. This time it's not R squared, but the goodness of fit measure is here AIC, archaic information criterion. Don't worry so much about these details. The key thing what it says is that the normal distribution has 436, and minimally a smaller AIC than the triangular distribution, which means it is a better fit. But as I said, just look at the order and pick the highest one. So, normal distribution is the best fit, and we have the parameters here, 59.94 and 18.430. Let me write it down here. Mean is 59.94, and the standard deviation is 18.433. So, okay, now we have found out how they are distributed. How do we implement that now in Excel? So we know now the distribution, and we want to answer this question, 4 or 5 surgeries. What would be just high level? How would you approach this problem?
High level, you want to do as many surgeries as possible within this time frame.
Yes, and how would you, what would you tell Excel?
To sort by, you take the 5 minimum time.
No.
Like in previous exercise, we did the actual demand calculation. We can do the actual time calculation for everything.
And if you have 4 surgeries, how many times do we test?
Yeah, so I mean, after we get that value, we can identify, suppose, like, yeah, if the actual value comes out to be 1.5 hours, so then we know within the 5 time frame, we can only, do 3 surgeries.
I think you're going in the right direction. So let me explain what we do. So here in this template, I randomly, similar like the equals example, randomly generate surgeries of a length which is given by our normal distribution. So I have here risk normal, and I know the parameters already. The mean is 59.94. The data exclamation mark is because I'm referring to a different data sheet here. And the standard deviation is 18.403. So I have here risk normal. And make sure I have dollar signs in it. And now, if I want to check how things look out for 4 surgeries, I just pick 4 of our observations randomly. So I take the sum of 4 randomly generated surgeries, divided by 60 because we have hours here. And here we see one is 3.41, different iterations to choose different lengths. Seems to be mostly below 5 hours. And if we have 5 surgeries, then we sum up over 5 of these and divide by 60 because we have hours and what happens. And we want to simulate, so we have 2 outputs now. Output is for 4 surgeries and 5 surgeries. And now we want to simulate this. I have still here 13 left from our equals example. I only want 1 simulation. And let's go. Okay, here I see my output for 4 surgeries. This is not the best way to answer questions like what is the probability that you are above or below a certain value. You might remember from your data analytics course, there was also this thing called cumulative distribution, which is more suitable for these kind of questions. And you can change it with, there's a small button at the bottom left. There is a distribution view, and there's one called cumulative ascending. So we change from automatic to cumulative ascending, and that looks more like what we want to see. So for 5.5 hours, the probability is 99% that the surgery session takes less than 5.5 hours. That's what this distribution tells us here. We can change here the, make it more clearer with this cut by, again, determining the range. So it's 99.3% to be precise. Okay, so that is for 4 surgeries. And AtRisk allows us to overlay the results of 5 surgeries in the same graph, which is quite helpful. So what you do is that there is a little overlay button, one of these small buttons you probably can't see if you're middle or more back of the lecture theater, but I will show it on the slide next. You can add overlay, and I overlay now our second risk output, 5 sessions. And here is our graph for 5 sessions. As you see, our target of 5.5 hours will be missed here. This will be hit in 77% of the cases, but in 22.7 cases, the session takes longer than 5.5 hours. So out of these 2, which one do we pick? Bianca, what?
4 surgeries.
4 surgeries. As an operations manager, would you be happy with 4 surgeries?
No,
Why not?
because there are quite a few operations that will last less than 5 hours.
Yeah,
So not
correct.
much.
Basically, none of these 2 solutions is very appealing. And what you need to do then, as an operations manager, ask yourself, how can you do it better? One solution would be to mix up the patients a bit. Have perhaps 4 surgeries, but one of these surgeries doesn't take 60 minutes expectation. So rather than, for example, a prostate resection, do a prostate cancer surgery with one of them, which takes longer. But that is beyond this course. What I want you to do now is try to replicate this using a template I will make available in a minute. But before that, let me still make one point. So what we did here is we fitted a distribution to the data, and we had a good fit. But what could happen often, and happens quite frequently in business processes, is that the distribution you get doesn't fit anything you know. It might, for example, for surgeries, you often get a distribution which looks like this. What do you make out of this? It's not normal, it's not uniform, triangular. And why is that, for instance? You might have 2 types of cases. You might have some patients which, once they get in, everything goes smooth and you have relatively low average surgery time. But for a significant number of people, more than 50% here in this case, there is maybe a typical complication which comes in. For example, an artery ruptures. And that delays the surgery. You don't know that necessarily in advance because you only know the problem once you have opened up the patient. And so there might be a second group with a longer surgery time. And then you end up with this kind of shape. So what do you do now in your modeling? There is another distribution you might not have come across. It's called the empirical distribution. Basically, it means we have some data here. We have 50 observations, and the empirical distribution just randomly picks in each iteration one of these 50 items. So it assumes that the blue histogram we saw previously is a true distribution. It just takes it as a fact, rather than fitting a smoother curve around it. And we could use, for instance, here then, how to implement that is use risk D uniform. D stands for discrete. So not uniform, but D uniform. And you pick randomly one of these 50 observations and use the fill handle after use the $sign. And you see now, these numbers are always integers. Why? Because these numbers are integers. You don't get this weird fraction a million times anymore. And the rest is the same. So this is simply different ways how to determine distribution function. What I want you to do now is to try it out yourself. I will make available now another template called Surgery List Template, which you can download from Canvas. And I want you then to try to replicate this part. Use the RISC-D uniform distribution. Try to implement what I just did with getting this 5 random observations of this distribution, and then sum it up and create these 2 charts. That's the aim for the next couple of minutes. Have a go with that.
Where's these? I would have classified.
Ach so, das sind einfach die beiden. Bei denen ist like the innovation.
Alors, tu peux venir contre moi, j'espère.
Like social impact.
Oh, she's still living in Japan. It's a nice town. Yeah, every
Yeah, I see that, but I don't feel the same way, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I was just downloading
I know, but it was doing this.
You name that you want.
My life is like all visible.
Baby mama. I'm proud. That would be baby mama. No, I don't know, bro. Okay, no, Japanese. That's
Wonderful.
Centers everything.
This is the one I cannot.
If it's a full size tablet.
Five. You have to press shift every time you hit press number.
That's what I did.
It's like 75 pounds. After the party, I like 8 30
What's this? One,
Finish.
It's not broken.
Yeah, I think that's
Just stuff that you don't know about, which is disgusting. Yeah, disgusting.
You can't even eat.
okay.
Disgusting.
Yeah, you're right. I should have.
Just so you know, never get closer than 1 meter.
Eight certified beer.
Bring some.
Five.
Need some more bring some for dessert for tonight.
我现在在等，因为我的 case 可能比较 complicated， 我在等一下。我今天去喝咖啡。
美国出出院。
Yeah, right. Have we done the Peapod, guys? Makes sense. I want to check.
Did you see the story? You need to get 4 out of 5 to get 100%.
Yeah. The wording, like one of the answers don't make sense. It's a simple equation, so.
Sure. When are you gonna go? Oh, right now? Okay.
Like on one of the schools. I have an interview Friday.
It said like
必须得慢慢紧缩，但是 P 必须得慢慢扩张。
So I just got like friends who actually feel like we're good at this. I just got them.
Yes, you're right.
Because I got rejected from Morpheus and City because I fucked up on the behavior part. Now I just get them to do it. For Morgan said like the numerical, like logical things, I always do well, but on behavior I don't do that well. I think it's how I fucked up for
There's a lot of ways.
this is the only like interview I had. And the high view subject. Nobody can see.
You can pick
whatever. Are we coming back on the 16th or
like really small exercise.
都还挺好，但幸好我的 team 只有我一个，我的天呐！明天你在投呀？
本来以为我已经刷了，我以为我这样子了。
投资还好。
不是更难吗？
对啊，那对吧？那就要你有牌子，所以就要
They open for like 3 days.
只有经历一次，就你们又来一次。
在这个基础打下去。
难的是两。
还有个 NYU 的，像别人说的
Like 3 days.
Yeah.
Like my friend was like applied to Barry, it was Friday, and on Monday I was gonna send it.
Yeah. Thank you.
You know, I mean, you better play right the RISPA. You know, there's 6 months internship.
我不知道，只是这个是因为我之前中间发过一个，就是说他带了一个
That's true. It's not ideal. I got rejected from. I think I fucked up because I should have. When I applied to MS, I applied to both the summer and the off-cycle for capital markets. They go like, is this ECM, DCM?
哎，我晚上怎么过去啊？那这个教室走我是很远，那个教室走我是很近。
差不多。
不差很多，那个教室。走25分钟。
Like the middle office and back office get like 5 times as much.
I get the mid.
Fucking Goldman. Like.
那毛是有
真的
没
差。
You need to find a college. 而且有个面试官跟我说 I like to go through them anyway, like slowly and check them out before I answer it.
我们今天给
这样
JP
很
变我
气，
的
你还很气，他为什么不给你发？
MS 顺畅，今天早上 MS 上海给我打电话给你，但 MS 上海就是打电话，然后就立刻要约。
Yeah, the Morgan Stanley
好像在洗碗，我说 OK 吧，我以为洗碗有点。
上海今天吗？那你还练吗？
对啊，你肯定去烘焙。
给你，但是也不要。
给我不要。
You did one for
拿着先，拿着先，然后再去掉。
I actually burped.
公海有没有给你 pass？
I don't think I'm good.
They don't even look at that. They just
Unless
get
you're investing in experience, memories. Yeah, they had a huge thing on no bottom service. I know other people.
That's capped. Well, with Morgan Stanley, I was like sure I wasn't gonna do it because I was like I fucked up like 10 times and I answered these questions, so I don't know why I went through.
不用理解这行业到底好。
Somebody said like I should have applied to like I should have
直接给
applied.
JP 的 bank 发了。
They did like summer GCM and I was like GCM and I got rejected in the summer.
之前看到
Like immediately and I think it's like I
那个 ST 之外，他中文都不会说，他怎么在这边搞？
because companies are looking to issue debt.
他挺多客户。
Yeah, because well they're expecting higher rates anyway. Now it's changing a little bit because they're expecting like rates to go down next year. So it's going down like because the companies are expecting higher rates at the end of the year, so they just issue now. But anyway, they're gonna have to refinance at these rates.
我有朋友问了他，问他是 offer 发完了吗？
Equity markets are doing bad. ECM is doing bad. Yeah. So they don't have much choice. Left fin is from closer.
JP let it go。
这一点咱就是有时候可能不想他的时候，买的下一把就来。
Let it go。
Morgan Stanley from like 2022 to like from 2021 to 2022 went down like 80%. Their fees generated by like ECM. Can you imagine? Like a 5-fold decrease.
你觉得我现在起码
ECM 是多少？
Yeah,
there was like
ECM's had They did like IPOs.
你也想去 I 号？
特别长。
应该想说，
Yes, you know, yeah,
I don't think so. I think that was.
大家轻松一点，你有时候累嘛。
I think they missed out also on like
investor relations.
Like that they did the IPO for the English semiconductors company.
我明明是没的。
我说我可以做方的放手，然后他们就来填我钱。
要不以后自己当 home manager，请你吃饭嘛，然后
你
要你把我们都收了算了。
可能这些 bank 填我钱，还要买地配。
他成绩你们
This year also, like the off cycle in 2024, the second half of 2024 was really the perfect time to like get back into like this market. It's going on to restart like in like the next 5 years as like the economy starts to boom again. I can like spend my career.
That's a good idea.
In 5 years, I just feel like I see myself in the next economic cycle.
我跟你说，我就是 panic like extra
虽然我明天靠我。
只要 survive 这个还有 individual assignment 就好。
尤其不过 private banking 我不知道你们要不要以上，就是 investment banking 这种要以上非常 heavy 的，
找 client。
Windows 回忆真是。加油！
可以啊，你在气。
我不然是往回的话。而且，
今年如果full time，真的是有点难。
对，主要是没有什么bank 开这个。
当然是去纽约大哥。
不是，我说你现在要去哪里？
现在没有去。
没有去。
一个都没去。
纽约人家砸6000的人选你都。
那我早知道就可能多放一点，我选。我很想去纽
约。去旅游啦，你不要
算了，对，所以我现在就开始要怎么回。对，我先搬到因为学校，傻逼，他不会觉得，就是他应该要6月才结束啊，他不会觉得就是所有人都要做。
千方百计的，就我。
去年 MS 我说啊，不是 Jamie 说的
Bank of Merrill 昨天开的，比现在开的是更早，6月3号。
6月3号，那你跟我一样啊？那你要给学校发1
对啊，所以现在一定要。
哦，那你跟我一样，那你也没法去，那你也跟我一样，可能要等待一个 term， 可能明年还要再回来上一个学。
万交换完，上海交换，然后做一个实用的，然后。
上海交换，哪个大学去回来？
快可以，就北京、上海都可以走。
香港 CUH。我想
纽约交换一个学期还是待久了就有。
那你喜欢纽约多一点？
主要是现在没有太大差别，但如果我有钱的话，我选纽约。因为我觉得有钱人在纽约住的太舒服。就是我比较喜欢伦敦，在纽约是很多富人去住 summer， 然后做这种情况。然后一般大老板的。
真的，直升机上班，我操，这什么玩意儿？
纽约还有个那个软件叫 Plane， 就你可以叫直升机。那个是好像是之前是 Uber， 然后 Uber 当时还没有把这个功能 spin off 出去的时候，就还在它这个本地的 app 里，然后这个我家还要你 basically try I get it， 就有一次我在做活动什么的，
那打一起看是吗？
I understood most of it.
Yeah.
I thought you was a guy.
Because I didn't look at her profile pictures. Yeah.
但确实比我爸想跟我去七福吧。
I'm gonna be honest, I asked.
爸就是这样吧。
Yes, I was like, I'm interested in
交换。
你爸还是香港还是对的香港？
我爸是香港人。
I think it's like a
但是他就是那种，就是很想我去读那种，我不知道，可能他昨天有生意，然后就很想我去那。
然后就说，哎，我们女儿是
对，我靠，我说就我不想去，然后我想我真的是说你让我写中文论文，我怎么写？我靠！
来给清华交换可能不会。
But no, it still was. Yeah, it still was relevant.
No, it was for you. 然后看我比较敏感，就是美国是政治海国的方面。然后对，他跟我上大学的时候，然后所有人都是10年前，然后他，然后
一个月，那给你，
我跟我妈都10年，
那还好，
但他还省了半个月，然后当时1819年，刚开始贸易战，制裁方，然后我爸就放去。
但中国真的很难生。
不知道自己 PTSD 但也没有办法，就是有点人嫌疑他有点大，还是我当时I have a problem.
然后他就很他是翻了，我也不但是香港应该好一点，生命其实。那你那我们俩不知道，你知道其他人也是其他人多也这么少。
我只知道 JP 跟那个
JP 也是那JP 就是都不可以参加那个职业，还有那个 elected 对那个 lab 那个学校说我必须得参加 London Lab， 他是6月10号结束。我跟他说，然后他说他要跟，所以你看也不 send email， 然后他说他是要跟谁？然后他说，那我说那我们的
Deadline online looks a lot later.
我们去拿那个 A 找一下。
I wonder if it's going to be manageable that time.
说好的 career oriented.
So I don't think I should my 35 already? No, I find it stupid, man. Like, we don't have any control over it because we're not going to be there on Saturday. And if one ticket gets missed, you pay 190 and don't get a ticket. I think that's too high of a risk. If I would have control over it, fair enough, but we don't. Yeah. Well, but like one of the, yeah.
Despite the exaggeration, I see that, yeah.
Hi, David.
I legit asked.
Oh, you need to be back.
We need you. We depend on you.
Most of us are back. Now the rest is coming.
Toujours un plan. La semaine dernière, donc des fois il a eu lieu chez les Italiens, il l'a organisé pour nous.
So the next part is all about the Dynatron case. And I know you all know about it because I forced you to read it by asking this dumb question Q2. Everyone probably wrote something and you will all get full marks if you have read it. That was the only point of this question. As an enforcing mechanism to read the case. Thank you for doing it.
Q2.
In all the other previous cases, by looking at the base case to begin with. And as before, I have uploaded a template on Canvas where I would like you to analyze the best guess case. I already put in the numbers for it you need to use and try to find out what is the optimal production level if we have perfect foresight and can assume that the best guess will be the future. And if you have time, also try to do a sensitivity analysis. But you will see in the template I already filled out quite a lot of functions, but some are still missing. Some green fields still need a little work. Try to complete it, and then give me the profit assuming the best case demand. Here we go.
Yes. I'll have a look quickly and then I'm going to le nom d'un média en français. Ça doit être ouais, mais surtout. Mais le problème c'est que c'est sur YouTube. YouTube qui est il va hyper in-depth, je regarde des stats. Ouais, il va dans le truc et il essaie de chercher des stats avancées. Mais je démonte des dessins. Give me a second.
Take your time, boss.
So bad fun.
Let's make more
Et aussi
September. That was 3 months
See that cross person, yeah. Yeah, I could.
And this is the exam.
Bro, it's a 3-day journey. I looked at the rest.
No, I want to take this one.
Remember yesterday talking about the demand and then you have this year capacity.
You're just meeting right?
Up 90 people, they can try emails and
That sucks. Yeah, me just like caps lock, like.
yeah, but on the break,
Oh yeah.
everybody go on the break. Go on the
You don't. There's no need. You're not.
Stop encouraging this.
I see that confusion of what is the optimal value. It has nothing to do with the gray itself you see on the right.
And I'm like, I can't disappoint you now.
What is the optimal production position? If we know that the demand is 9,000, we know the demand is 9,000. What's the optimal production position? Exactly, that's all what I wanted to hear. Nothing complicated. And because you have 12,000 already in supply from the failure from last year, so as you end up matching supply, matching demand, and you don't have any oversupply. And then you will have some kind of self-regulation similar as before. Have a go when you can get when you get formulas.
Of tomorrow.
I would have gone and the supply. Yeah.
Lo pensais pas. Non, je connais.
Yeah, I know. Now I'm disappointed. That's why I went low.
Like I don't know, like I don't know. Are we just like doing simple dynamics? Or the fact that they could like yes.
Like US
The sales is already a submission of your supply and demand. Supply is larger than sales. Yes.
Yeah, whatever you want to. Whatever you want to sales, whatever. So our supply is this, and what our demand is always instructed for production. If we production means oversupply, how much are we supplying more than usual?
Down here, sales is basically.
No, I mean the sales. The sales. No, this is the absolute demand. I mean, you're considering that this is going to be the demand. This is not the actual demand.
Production, we only sell you.
Let's go. Why is this true?
We only sell
Yeah, I mean,
Hi, what is the overlap in It's minimum before and beside right?
between 60% to 27%.
Apparently, it takes 60 minutes. Like I said, it took me 2 hours, so I'm not sure.
Was probably a little bit confusing because I just someone enlightened me because I first told you what is the optimum here, and then you later were supposed to calculate the overproduction. It's a bit I gave you a solution for calculating this. Let's not get too hung up on this. The key thing what I wanted you to consider is again the same thing that we were struggling with egress. We cannot sell more than there is demand. We cannot sell more than there is supply. That would be again a minimum function. And this one here is the capacity costs. How did you model that? What Excel function did you use?
I used two if functions.
Yeah, how do you combine them?
So the first if function, or I guess the larger one who goes around the whole thing, is if the total production is below 150,000, 0, and if it's above the second if function, and then the second if function you have if the total production is over 200,000, it's those 55,000 pounds, and if it's below the 200,000, it's the 15,000 pounds.
Nested if function you use, that's the way to do it. It's a bit complicated because you always need to be careful where put these closing brackets. Get any confused? You have an easier solution?
Yeah, I used the minimum function.
Minimum.
We did.
So we did like the demand out the sensitivity analysis demand given. So we assumed 60% of 50,000. We did that like the minimum of 60% to 50,000 and the supply.
I must admit I'm not completely following. It might work out in some way, but it's a little bit too high for me. An easier solution is actually if you just use two separate if function rather than a nested if function. It's a bit easier. That's how I did it here. I used, you see, if demand is larger than 150,000, then I pay 15,000 for tooling. And in addition, if demand is larger than 200,000, I pay, this is true, I pay 15,000 and I pay the extra 55,000 on top. That's how I would have implemented it. The key thing is you need twice an if here. Okay. Let's now move to the actual sensitivity analysis. If you did it, was a good practice from last time, but solutions will be available on Canvas. So I don't want to go into that now. What is more interesting is to bring some uncertainty into this. And it says in the text that about demand. They finally decided the median demand was 150,000 units. They were certain that demand would not be below 50,000 or above 300,000 units. And they believed that there was a 1 chance in 5 that demand would be at least 100,000 units, and also 1 chance in 5 that demand would be less than 125,000. How do we model that? Really not one of our typical distribution, where we have some normal shaped distribution or uniform. But what this actually describes is a cumulative distribution. When you think about it. It gives you different points on the cumulative distribution. Let's see whether you can figure out which points are provided here. So it says that finally decided the median demand was 150,000 units. If this becomes the cumulative distribution chart, where would I put a dot for this first sentence? What do you think?
Brandon? 50%?
Yeah, it's easy. Median 50, we put it here. 50% chance you're below and a 50% chance that you're above 150,000. That's the definition of the median. Second one, they were certain that demand would not be below 50,000 or above 300,000 units. Where do we put the dots here?
Zero.
That's right. And remember that the cumulative distribution can be is always bound between 0 and 100% and always goes somehow up. It goes always up. So we have now the extremes. Now comes perhaps the trickiest one. And they believed that there was a 1 chance in 4 that demand would be at least 190,000 units. How do you go about that? Where would you put a dot? Any thoughts?
Um, 190,000 would be at 75%.
Exactly, because it says there is a 25% chance, 1 in 5, that the demand would be at least 190,000 units. So if 25% above, it's a cumulative distribution, you need to think the other way around. If it's 25% above, this is equivalent to there's a 75% chance that we will be below 190,000. And that's why we got X here. And the last one I think I can do myself now because you probably figured it all out, that if there is 1 chance in 4 or 25% chance of demand would be 125,000 units, we would end up here. Okay, that is helpful. It doesn't provide the complete distribution yet. And here we do what we always do in models. We have to put assumptions in. And my assumption is here, I can simply linearly add up these dots or connect these dots. And to tell this stuff to exist, there is a command function. Like risk normal, we have here risk cumulative distribution with a minimum of 50,000, a maximum of 300,000. So you first, it has a bit of an odd way to define it. First the minimum level and then the maximum, and then in between, in curly brackets, you first say your levels, this, and 25,050 and 90,000. And in the second curly bracket, you provide the corresponding percentile. So this refers to this and this dot, this refers to this and the median dot, and you got it for the last one as well. So that's how Excel or Risk wants this information to be communicated. And you can do something similar for the share of supers, where you end up with this formula. But it's the same thinking as before. So the range between 0.3 and 0.6%. It says can be as high as 60, but no circumstance below 30%. And then it gives you some levels in between. Don't worry about the details here. If you understood that, it's the same process. Okay. Now I want us to go into the actual interpretation of the results. I want you now to answer this question, these 2 questions here at the bottom, and try to calculate some statistics for our case. So what I have done now is I already provided you the answer for our model in Excel. In the sheet you have in the sheet which we are given, Dynatron template 1 is its called case. And when you click on template 1 on this tab, right click, there is an unhide function there. So right click on template 1, unhide, and there I have already hidden the way how to model this Excel. Unhide says template 2 and press OK. And now you will see once you have done that, a template 2 as tab will appear in your solution. So right click on template 1, unhide, and then you will see template 2. So that's always a nice trick to hide if you have too many tabs. It's also often very interesting to forget some spreadsheets and analysts who do lots of tabs.
and you click unhide, you find suddenly even more information there. So I always do that when I get this complicated spreadsheet. So something good to know about. Okay, now with this model given, use template 2. Don't work with template 1 because so there's a risk that something is wrong, then you get completely different results and it just goes the wrong way then. Use template 2 and try to understand whether you want to prefer the marketing manager's production level, the production manager's production level, or the product manager's production level. And calculate first the average as kind of expected value, and as a measure of risk, I have here 2, standard deviation 5% percentile. Look carefully at them, put them in a table, and they tell you something interesting. And then after you have done that, I would like you to calculate the risk profile and the cumulative distribution again. And you do that using a risk sim table approach. So as before, you use this time not the optimum level for production of the base case, but you use the risk sim table for these cells. And once you do that and produce the risk profiles, there is this little button at the bottom left. I will help you then if you don't remember all these things. And you can click all simulation, you can overlay it nicely. Try to get there, we will help you if you get stuck, and then try to answer this question. Keepstone over Gassman, which do you prefer? And Gassman over the production manager, which one do you prefer? So have a go with that. So I already created the model, including the risk cumul functions. I want you to analyze it now. Starting with this sim table.
Coming out? Coming out?
Yeah. I'm very sorry for those who have remote access. I just learned the unhide function doesn't work on remote. Do not ask me why. What I will do now, I will upload a new version. We'll let you know once you can read it.
Yeah, Lorenzo and I doing everything.
Now, just now.
What do you want me
What? It's barely been like
Bitch, you just know what he said.
no wonder I'm mean.
What? What do you want me to say? You just called me. Excel does it for you.
I upload now the Dynaton template with unhidden template 2.
What is it that we need to do? To make sure
Follow along. Like he's gonna like guide us. I'm sure everybody will be able to do it.
To me, like what?
No, you have to send there to twice. 3 steps.
Like I wouldn't. Don't stress out about it.
You're supposed to same table, right?
Wait, no, I'm
Take right here.
I'll give you a copy. They didn't come back to me, but now I'll just say sorry. I did now. Sorry, I'm fine now.
Yeah, that's me as well.
Those what, the Excel file?
Yeah.
That's what I did with the
You might need to refresh.
Yeah, but after you refresh.
No, it's the same.
It's the same name, just
It doesn't have to like.
no, I would say.
Like I had a kid, like
That makes sense.
That's not a limit of
it's not like not money.
I just gonna close the concept again. Yeah, no, I have that issue, but my Microsoft, that's like my backup. It's as if I'm online. Yeah, on the screen. I don't know. But I can use one of my computers.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, are you working together or are you just kind of the audience?
I can't. Well, I sometimes have to go through the things before I can speak about it. You know what I mean?
Speak loudly and share your thoughts.
I'm doing that. I'm doing
Yeah, I
that.
know it's a bit complicated.
He's a leader.
I mean, you should swap one of you goes there and there, but it's fine.
We can do that if you want. Yeah, sure.
So how do we start from scratch?
Yeah, that's it.
I did everything right, just have to password, but you have to restart. So your LBS ID password, did that
Can you try to switch it down? Which one responds?
They give your domain name to someone
This is this.
So obviously at that point and then you literally went like that. Fun skill. Took it. No. And then he was like and we're like basically like something where like we couldn't ride there but you could walk like a cut across the first one started running at me and he's like, oh no, I mean and at that
It's 357 is the capacity.
But
Attends, tu crois que ça marche pas ce truc et je dois envoyer un screen
look at the stats. No, moi ça marche pas. My wrist is not working at the 5%.
Like they were clearly talking like I'll take using it natural. No, not really. That was like, listen, like, you can use like come on, like you can like fast forward it. This is not me. They never go like that. They like means like basically here's a camera. I mean, in all fairness, the insurance did
One. They say a girlfriend is not a wife. Do you agree? They say a girlfriend is not a wife. Do you agree, bro? Saying a girlfriend is not a wife. Say you cheat on her. What have you been for 5 years?
Go online to be a lady.
Not enough. And then you get known for 2016. But I didn't know how to find it. First kiss, October 2016. First kiss, October 2016. Yeah. We've been on and off. No, it's been on and off. We've been together ever since, yeah? With wifey. She's in London. That's strange. So I was like, I might have to go to sketch tomorrow night. I know. Is it any good? No?
No, 5 years.
No fit.
5 years?
Huh?
4 years?
Yeah, the cumulative time it's like more than 4.
Yeah.
Last drink is
2 months.
Metodologia doctora.
After these recommendations, three times. Most
Fit, yeah?
My dad has a third. Yeah, and then that's what's gonna happen. You guys have to take up.
Did you bring her to summer house yet or no? You brought her to summer house yet? Yo, the question is, you have not seen Maria Chiara's work.
I haven't seen
Maybe I see her stuff too. That's your.
Sophie mentioned
Bro, what I was saying is,
I don't need a picture. I just want to see a picture.
Was it lying in your mirror to like something else?
Franco's birthday on Friday, like going out on Saturday.
What's Franco gonna do? Text me, I didn't see that.
Franco's having like a birthday party. Yeah, Franco's doing a dinner.
I don't like driving.
On Saturday, I've been invited to a dinner with like LDS alumni with like 50 people.
Yo!
Right. It's the only weekend where I have nothing to do. I'm texting on the group chat who's going out. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. When will you choose Keystone weekend? I might be busy. Everyone's doing something.
So then, what was the answer?
She kind of gave me some hints, yeah. I told her about the dinner.
I love the inspiring.
I told her about the dinner on Saturday, and she told me, yeah, if you really care about that, we can go. Guys, can we decide what we something like yesterday, bro, I'm happy down to go home. Yours do poker and Leo's do chill.
Yeah, we're gonna go around. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Poker, like real life poker or?
You should try blackjack, bro. We tried blackjack. We tried blackjack. We're about to do the freaking slot games at the end. We're about to do the slots at the end.
At one point, it's like, you're gonna put 50 on black at roulette. It was desperate.
You guys are not.
Yeah, well, let's go.
Because you know, bro, the minimum bid is yeah.
Leicester Square, bro. You do £10. I mean, I understand the question, right? Yeah, exactly.
That's better horses, like virtual races. It was COVID time. It was betting on Ukraine ping pong.
No.
Sorry.
One.
Horrible.
One.
Look out, t-shirt, bro.
That's very perfect.
You don't know how sad it is. There's a uni days discount. So you were playing for the pizza, you were taking Charles, tell me that tomorrow the uni days discount like a pizza express.
I see that.
No, we have to get a computer, what we can also is go together, we sit on the same table. No, we don't communicate, but every time we're in together, just check it out.
Yeah, basically, running money has no possibility of having very low profit. I trust one more.
Tonight, I understand how you lost.
Bro, how much did you win last weekend? Tell.
All the losses I made?
It is safe strategy. It is a safe strategy.
I would expect safe strategy. Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Most of you got there, and I think some of you probably get bored a little bit. So I know not all of you managed that, but this will be still a few minutes later there if you have some questions. So solving still some issues. Let me continue here, and let's perhaps think about question A here. What did you see when you analyzed that? You probably came up with a table like this. You might have seen it in the views. You see the or came manually. And looking at this, what does it tell you? Whom do you pick? Hands up. Anyone picking the marketing manager? Anyone picking the production manager? Anyone picking the product manager? Okay, so why did you pick the production manager? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it has lowest probability of not going back.
It has the lowest probability of not going backward. Yes. That's all what you made the decision on? Okay, you're very risk averse, I see. That's fine. That's something we need to be worried about. What else did you base the decision for those who picked the product manager? Okay. Exactly. So what we have here is two measures of risk. I have the standard deviation, 5% percentiles. There are quite a few other measures of risk. I picked here two simply, and you probably remembered something of the efficient frontier in, I guess, finance course probably, microeconomics probably as well. So remember this one? If your risk, it's your mean, and your risk. And we have here the production manager. Here we have the product manager has a higher risk, a much higher risk in fact, and a lower value. And then we have Keepstone somewhere hopelessly higher risk, even higher risk and a lower value. And remember from the efficient frontier, we would never pick anyone that is here in this quadrant. We only want to go up. So that's basically another way how to think about it. But obviously, production manager, higher average, lower risk. That's wonderful. Why would we not pick him? Maybe. It's a bit more complicated. So now I asked you the question. Now most of you managed to have this exciting graph. And I asked you specifically, when would you use Keepstone, that's the red one, the sales manager, marketing manager, over Guessman, the boss? When would you pick one or the other, or would you always? What does it tell you here? So how did you interpret that? Oh, think it about this way. Say we have set a target. The target is don't make a loss. Then we see that the probability of making a loss is 0 for the green one, according to our simulation, and something about 7% for the other. And whatever target we set, say we set a target of 150,000, the chance of missing this target will be always higher for red than for green, because it's to the left or to the upper part or above the green one. So what this shows you, if you have two cumulative distributions and they don't overlap, it gives you a strong signal that one is worse than the other. We call this, if you want to have a fancy term, it's first order stochastic dominance. Don't try to remember it. Of course try, but it's not so relevant. But comparing those cumulative distributions can be helpful. And you see, this doesn't happen for the green one and the blue one. Okay, now this doesn't mean that there is not perhaps a single scenario where the production manager, where the sales manager is better than the production manager. It's possible. So there's certain demand combinations where the red one, so the sales manager does better, but than the production manager, but not on a cumulative scale. Okay. Now, have you got a sense where these spikes come from? Can you think about the reason? Just kind of make sense of these graphs. What explains the spikes? Any thoughts? Hayden?
Yes, that's the point where I guess the probability jumps. Well, no. There's no way that we have more profit than the point where the spike is, in a sense of that all values will be below that point in the simulation.
Yeah, the spike comes basically from the production decision. Remember, when the demand is higher than you produce, then we cannot sell this demand. And when you look here, it's the spike here, and now let me change the shape or the type. So instead to probability function. So it's exactly where this spike here. So this sudden jump relates to the fact that our upside is bounded by how much we produce. And when you look at this, it is most bounded for the product manager because he has a very low sets production level, only 150,000. Okay, now looking at this graph, when would you pick the right one? Guessman over the product manager? What would be a reason why Guessman is the best choice? Besides, he has a lower mean and a higher standard deviation. Any reason? Can you think of something? Sebastian?
You really try to optimize for the upside? Is that
optimize for the upside means gambling. Yes, if you want to gamble. Now, why might Guessman want to gamble? He has a reason to gamble, potentially. Because remember, last year, he's responsible for the stuff. He's a product manager. It is him who has to make a decision and where the buck stops if it goes wrong. And remember, last year he didn't do well. So maybe his incentives are different compared to the firm. For example, you might want to have a promotion, and if you want to have a promotion, you need to do well. Or you might, for instance, be worried that you might get fired if he again just offers a mediocre result, because he is responsible. And so he might decide, well, the expected profit don't differ between much. 231,000 versus 228,000. He decides,
For his personal incentives, it is worth gambling. And the same actually you could argue as a sales manager or as a marketing manager. Why did he provide these large numbers? Remember how marketing, not sure whether you talked about how sales managers often get paid for. They get a commission by how much they sell. And the more they sell, the more money they make. So they're not too worried about the costs, they are worried about the items they sell. So in this case study, you could argue that the incentives of the firm were not necessarily aligned with the incentives of the individual, and as a result, they came up with these different suggestions. Okay. So that's just this case study. We're doing so much better than the previous class, so I'm not sure. I spent so much time here, I don't have to rush it through. You're really fast. It's good. And I guess you're not unhappy because we talked still a little bit about the group assignment tomorrow, and then you can go home. It's just what I said. Group assignment. Tomorrow I will give you a case study again, similar like the Dynatron with the Eagle Airlines case, but with a difference. This time you know all the Excel function, all the techniques to analyze it, and in addition, I will also give you more step-by-step questions of what to do so that you're all going roughly the same path in the analysis. And the first question I will ask is, please provide me the base case. And in order to create base case, remember to know how to use the min, max, if, and some functions, the dollar signs may come up. So make sure that you know about these. Then the next question will be for this case study. I ask you similar like in session 1. Scenario analysis, sensitivity analysis, and then do a simulation. And for that, remember the key techniques you need to know: how to create a 1 and 2 data table, convert the 1 data table into a scatter plot, a nice chart. You need to know about 5 possible distributions: normal, uniform, triangular, empirical, and cumulative distributions, and how to implement them at risk. Then we talked about correlation last time. And this time we talked about wisdom tables. Might be relevant. I think I already said wisdom table will be asked for in the questions. And then different ways how to explore the results. So similar what we just did now for the Dynatron case. Know how to create these charts and tables. So the assignment will be open book. So you can use, of course, all the previous slides, you can use the internet, and if you want to have an attempt, you can also use ChatGPT. But there will be a disappointment for you waiting. ChatGPT doesn't know at risk. And it's generally a simulation with ChatGPT, unless you are really good at programming, then you can use it. The only problem is, if you can do that, you can also use it risk and be much faster. So it is not helping much. You can try it, but don't waste your time with it. And we will also be and 2 tutors will be there, so to help you troubleshooting, because it is easy to get lost in at risk and something is not working and then you would be stuck. We don't let you hang out dry, but we'll then do troubleshooting, and also if you don't understand how to answer questions, we'll be always there. So don't get lost, ask if you have questions. So what do I want to see from you after 3 hours? I want to see for you a 3-page management report. So you can add a technical appendix, but the Excel template which I will give you already so they don't get lost, I don't care about it. Don't upload on Canvas. I have no joy in looking at it in my free time. I only want to look at it as a management report. And if you use a technical appendix, make sure you refer to the relevant parts in your management report. If you just dump a lot of tables to the technical appendix, again, I have better things to do. So make it easy for me to read it. 75% of the mark will be for correct modeling and the numbers suddenly look right for the questions, but 25% will be on how you present the results. Now, how do you present the results to senior managers that they understand the what you did and get some managerial insight? Now, as audience, I think the best way to think about it is you write it to somebody who had done their MBA 25 years ago and was sleeping in the risk analysis course. So they know, they're in the business long enough, they know what scenarios are, they have got the idea of sensitivity analysis somewhat. And simulation is also not something they can't comprehend. But when it comes to technical details, they might be a little bit rusty. For example, if you tell them, oh, we use the normal distribution, then his response might be, if there is something normal, I'm sure there is something paranormal as well. So keep it light and easy. And remember that senior managers read lots of reports. And they kind of forgotten what your one is about. So start at the beginning to tell them, what is the problem you're trying to solve? What are your objectives? What are the uncertainties you consider? Possibly what's the alternatives, depending on how the case is. And at the end, be very clear what is your recommendation. What should the manager do now after they read it? It's about insights. Don't just drop number, but interpret the numbers. Make them meaningful. And lastly, keep it digestible. The manager might be tired, and in fact, me, I might be also tired when I read this thing. And if the flow is nice and things are easy to comprehend, then I'm happy, and you probably get a happy mark too. So, in this case, quite a nice report. That's it basically from me today, and I see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock here, I believe, in lecture theater 4.
That is like a story.
Can I send it to Norway?
That works? It's because the first word I just threw it out there.
And there wasn't enough.
Let's go.
For real. That is the date. No. Yeah. It's you.
You don't need to win, bro.
Yeah, we need to.
Well, there's a good game.
But you're French and Argentinian.
What did you
C'est pas Ruby. Andiamo adesso. Andiamo a fare la festa. Andiamo a fare la Valdoria? Bro, andiamo a fare la Valdoria? Valdoria, parti bro, casino.
This motherfucker.
Make Valdoria. You might be like
I got some bullshit.
Where are you going now? Where are you going? You Monday, you're gonna go for a ball? You're my bitch. You're my bitch. I submit you whenever you want.
My brother's trying to put some. Can we style him?
Like normal person. I say I put you in a submission. I put you in a submission.
I put you on submit.
Submit, yeah, like an assignment. I own you. I put you on submission. Does it sound like I own you, bro? Yeah, no, I.
You sound like the pro. Yes.
Scared about us asking, yo, Leo, you host
at 7.
Yo, you host
Why?
I only do the seating charts. So I only collect.
Tell her.
No, this data.
Sebastian. Tell her.
No,
but you could, there's a big incentive if you're doing the same thing. The reason is this. Listen, because we have to buy it, and there's no.
Because it's not normal.
Whatever the guy's name is, man, keep on saying that if we buy it, if we all try to get it and all get it, but we're still in the 15-minute screen, right? And we can't.
Because I
If we don't all get it, we just don't buy it.
And I say
And just tell this woman cheat.
and you know what, when like he say that
Yes, please.
like
Everything else would be insane. She made you fucking. She flaked on you. She wants something from you. You agree with me?
Yeah, I mean, if people want this ticket, then sure, fine.
You want to go far?
I don't. How much is it? You know?
90 or something.
90
I don't fucking.
for access to after ski. Seems a bit steep, no?
Nah. Sebastian, there's an incentive for us to do it, regardless what you think.
What's the incentive?
If you decide to be just on your own, fair enough. You do you, right? But I mean, I guess that would be stupid from your side. Now that's that surprised me. Let me, I have it here. They say limited access après-ski party on the 10th, on the 11th, and clubbing night, white party on Thursday.
赶紧去投资。不是那个
Huh?
It's the first year, so it's of course completely new for me, so I'm still learning how to do it. So I think it's go wrong in the first year.
我觉得你们这个 DNI program 就是这个就是 self display。
Key thing is comes with experience because it's not just this data, you also need to connect up in this with other data. Connecting to finance with this negative correlation. Strategy where they have so basically what we hear is a tool, but it can be only used together with all the other.
Do you want private software?
Now, but
Is that just for people with channel?
Sebastian, please. I'm gonna repeat myself. I don't care about the ticket. It's about the fact that if everybody's gonna get it, we have a big incentive of getting it.
But I think it's worth having a discussion whether
we had this discussion.
Okay, people say this is something we want.
That's what I read from this thing. I didn't talk. I don't participate in discussions because I find it absolutely worthless.
Yeah.
I mean, but you're part of the group.
That was probably the hardest.
Yeah, but just like you, I didn't read it, nor do I care about it.
What does it mean for the case?
Like for example, I was curious about what does 100% mean. Does that mean that any combination they take?
I agree with you. From my perspective, we don't need the skiing ticket, and we don't need the.
No, what actually happens?
Seb is making a good point that the price seems somewhat steep for just access to.
Minus 14,000, so there's a 5% chance that they will make less than minus 14,000.
I think I'm
Use this threshold for the other simulation.
A different perspective.
So you're looking in, which group are you looking in for to get information about what we're buying? Because I'm a little bit confused.
Jakob was sent it in the group here? And there's also a possibility in this here. Up.
86% chance.
This thing?
没关系，可以来的。
Never less than minus 14,000.
Yes.
But there is a chance that they make more since we have.
What does this intersection?
This one here.
Incomes of the company.
Oh, 对。
That maybe at one point in their prediction, so like because if this person increases production to that level, then they'll be able to meet.
I don't care for it, but if everybody else does, then I'm not going to be.
Upper is worse, lower is high, because here's the probability of exactly, yeah. So when you think about it here so far,
I think I'm misunderstanding something. It's just having been there. It's a public space. All of.
Is less.
So is it
reread the thing?
I read it.
Reread it.
10%, it stays always
A closed off area.
always less.
No, that's the one we
Always
can't buy
worse.
tickets for.
So it's worse when
in terms of
Okay, but La Folie Douche, if it's there,
because green is to the left.
are they gonna prevent people from coming in?
At this point here, at around 270,000, don't interpret it too much.
I don't understand why you're being
But
like you're being
there,
towards me. It's not like I'd make this
suddenly
decision, Sebastian.
Blue is higher than green.
But do you think I'm being
Blue is worse.
You're being a tad
So
bit
how do you
over
interpret that?
reactive.
Okay. I apologize for that.
That are increasing amount of production.
Come here. Let's look through it and then just fucking decide because it makes sense for us to just stay here and fucking book it.
They provide access to something on Sunday.
Upper Sheep Party. There will be 2 Upper Sheep events in La Folie Douce that are not included in the Shadow Ticket. Shadow Snow Track will have an area, blah blah blah, but you can La Folie Douce is open to public problems, you can still come and see
are
your
useful
friends.
for different purposes. So here it's just, I just wanted to show you how this is
But
stochastic.
the other ones apparently are some kind of party mode.
Only to compare the red to the green one. That's only what I could do. For the blue one, it's not particularly helpful as well. But there was this other graph.
It's fucking stupid. I'm gonna buy my own.
Thank you. So where you basically you had, and I simplify it, you might have a distribution like this.
Yeah.
That's here's this profit,
Does one agree?
and you
If
might
there's no
have
way to get it,
for the
then
second
there's no
one
point.
distribution like this.
So I agree with that.
Now how would
I'll
you
check
interpret
this
these two graphs? Which one is better?
This is profit.
Yep.
I think this one is better because it doesn't make low
I mean, it's not,
profits.
I don't
And
think
then
it's,
it has more probability to
really
make
a risk,
bigger
but
Okay.
I
in
mean,
the
the
sense that if we
probability
just know
will
one
come
person
down to the same level as intangible.
that's willing to
But
pick
if
it up
you
for us,
make it has higher possibilities.
that's on
And
the actual
same
snow
level of
track,
like in the same
or is like
probability
organizing
we
it.
No, but look,
recover
see, there is risk. Because if the problem, like, so if Jacobo knows a guy that is at the thing, right?
Yeah.
He goes, has a list of us. The risk of him fumbling it or fumbling anything is just too high for me. Because also we need to get it. Like, what happens if we can't make it there on Sunday, right? On Saturday.
We don't have
That's a key point. It doesn't matter.
somebody that is involved.
Yeah, it doesn't speak much to you.
No,
Yes, but
what
how
it
do you
means
plan to
is
get into
this
Val
one
d'Or
has
on
a
Sunday? Because you need the
chance
skiing
to
ticket,
make
don't
Then
you?
that person
Yeah.
needs to
And it's a
do
higher
like
chance
that.
But
Which
there's
is
no
just
money.
over one mountain.
But
It's
also
like
a higher
45
chance
minutes.
to
Yeah,
make
but
money.
It has a
But
higher
see that,
probability.
And then he
of
saved the
making
group what?
But also a higher probability of
700
making
pounds.
So
lower
that's
profit.
just not being risk averse, right? That's just like if you're taking a risk. Then
I don't see that.
Exactly, he takes higher risk, and actually the mean is actually
I think
looks
now you're
like
just
the same
changing everything.
to two.
I'm saying.
So try to interpret them.
Reason for this not to. I mean, it's
Look
not
at
very.
this.
No, but I stated that I made this opinion in the fucking thing.
This is probably
Yeah, that's fair, but I think
So say you had that in the
your perception of the likelihood of
Gasman.
Yeah.
Gasman looked at the distribution function like
Yeah, I don't trust people. I mean, you should be on my page here. If I would be organizing it, if I knew the guy, fair enough.
Higher risk. So that's how you.
We don't.
So
We
basically
should have
it's all
we should have
about
a friend
comparing
that is actually
risk.
going on.
Yeah,
so
it's
one
not
person.
gonna be my friend, is it?
This
It's gonna be some Italian dude that is responsible for our tickets. I don't fucking.
So I think the risk is missing out on half their scheme.
But let's
Because
say
it's perfect
we have a
for
minimal
some
standard
reason.
deviation. I'm not
Yeah,
taking
exactly, and I don't want to do that.
And then as we increase the profits, we can clearly see.
But I think
that
I'd rather
he is
do this
more
from SOC.
probable.
Yeah.
And this guy who's
You
playing
don't
it
have time.
safe is
45
just
minutes.
Yeah.
the max of he
15
can
minutes,
risk
it's not
is limited.
Yeah.
And he can go to a direct
just not
shoot and
enough.
then he'll just
Yeah,
take
You're there at
exactly
like
that.
you're there in 11 minutes, 12 minutes,
I guess
and you have 3
every
minutes to
kind
get
of
ready.
analysis
That would be
you do,
another stupid one.
Always ask yourself what is the return, what's the expected value,
Yeah.
and what is the risk. Once
Tell
you
this woman
define,
she's fucking
you always
late.
everything you analyze, try to find these quantities. Risk can be measured in different ways. Standard deviation, I explained 5% percentile, and there are a couple of other measures. But always
Just say yes or
compare
no,
these
don't
two.
fucking make it
But
like
if you could,
Yeah,
if
they
you
are
broke
better
it,
if you have low, higher average
Just go buy one and
and
fucking
low
get it.
risk.
then you can pick it up. Somebody that picks it up for us.
I'm not even maybe gonna go
How's it
I think that
played
depends
out?
on
Mary
the
Bell,
organizations.
to Val d'Or and come back just because you're too fucking are you
But
stupid?
every interpretation
Then I might as well just buy my own
always
ticket. That's
asks
just
what does the
that,
firm
what the
tell
hell?
me about the
Yeah.
average?
What do you mean?
The only reasonable solution is if somebody decides, you and I, for example, to drive to Val d'Or first,
You always try
which
to
is
ask these
an extra
questions,
hour,
then
And we're
Go
not
get
gonna,
the tickets.
probably not even gonna,
real sense.
if we leave from the airport
Yeah,
at
it just kind of
5:30,
gives
I
me
just pick up
pointers in my head that if I want to analyze something, I
6
should
2 hours the
put in
airport.
my like these are the two boxes I want to.
Exactly, so that's what I found.
So it may like for me today.
in my opinion, chat, it's pass.
Yeah.
How long do you stay awake till today?
shadow tickets. But this is never gonna work. People are never gonna fucking buy tickets now. Never. We might as well just not do it. Because they're gonna be sold out.
Okay. Really hard.
Do you think also the ski
And then
pass?
I'm gonna sit the night with you.
How difficult do you think?
Torturing yourself tonight. Happy torturing.
Do you have any assessment?
I wish I would. I need my 8 hours. That's what I'm grumpy, unhappy. Okay, thank you. See you tomorrow.
I don't know. I really don't.
I know.
What is your
I'm just trying to plan how much time I should spend in preparation.
No. You know these things.
I just only got at-risk on my computer.
I don't do anything.
I have some time tomorrow.
No, but I think
Yes,
you should.
Yeah.
The only thing that worries me is the fact that I have to work with other people for this.
Yeah, and you can't just say, see ya.
And it's three pages in 3 hours plus doing the whole model on your own. I think it's tight. So you have to collaborate, and that scares me. And then it's gonna be in a room of people who are all
running around.
And I mean, if we're allowed to break out, I'll try to break out with my group.
What do you mean break out?
Like go in a separate room.
Ah, okay. I don't know why this is not
Do you have this master supervisor presentation you need to write? Do you have a summary of your
Sebastian, did you see that in the lecture slides towards the end he's mentioned what all he's going to ask us tomorrow?
Yes.
No, the reason I mentioned that there
He's going to
are
upload the new version.
quite a lot of me, I work in healthcare, but also others who work specifically in developing world, healthcare, logistics, supply chain.
I'm
Okay,
that I will practice from YouTube. You told me how
okay, I
to
work
do
in
it.
public health as well,
Yeah.
I know how to do that.
You taught me how to do it, but I just
you
practiced
did
it
your
once.
research, so it's a bit different. It's
You
more
have to make sure
in-depth
your
context.
Excel is on automatic calculation.
It's
That can
very
fuck it up.
different.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yours was in manual that way. You're
Have you
slow.
had a chat with Dr. Do you write
If
me-
it's manual,
write me
then
email?
for the
Yeah, but yours is
sensitivity.
still slow.
What?
Yours is still slow. I'm always gonna call it slow because
My
you're
computer, yeah, it is
any
slow.
time.
Oh,
So it's currently at 37.5 weeks.
So you've calculated that.
I'm hoping I make the course till the end. There is a risk that someone else will send that I might be a bit over on this might be that I set something up. But I'm glad to talk a bit more about this. Okay, but I think you have more urgent things to pay attention to over the next days.
Not more than you. Congratulations.
Okay, so not yet. To be still a bit of time to wait. Okay.
Hope you do the best. All the best.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, new first batch of the sensitivity analysis. No. I did not do either practice or online lecture का video जैसे कि होता है simultaneously practice false practice
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
See you.
श्रीजू ने मुझे बोला अपने बर्थडे में मुझे बुला रही थी उसने इनवाइट नहीं भेजा खुद मिल के मुझे बोली कि मुझे बर्थडे में बुला रही है 12 बजे 11 उसका बर्थडे 12th को है तो 11th नाइट वो लोगों को बुला रही हो पर 12th तक चलेगा बट फिर उसने इनवाइट नहीं भेजा आई डोंट नो
12th अभी
हाँ दिवाली कुछ और की आई थिंक मुझे काम है थोड़ा फोन पे और कुछ
नहीं
See you. Bye.
Alright.
Bye.
See you tomorrow. I hope you study all night for this.
Sebastian, can you stop putting pressure on me? Bye.
He's an asshole, isn't he?
I have an incentive to pressure my group, my team members.
That's not how it works, Sebastian. You'll be a terrible leader.
Okay.
I love that people decide to fucking do it and then people don't answer.
Just for me to make sure I have understand this correct. You are saying your rationale for not trying to save £90 or €90, whatever it is actually a bit less, right? Because one is pounds, one is euros. I don't know what the conversion rate.
Fuck it.
Is because you
I'm not in
some
control of these
perceive like you're indifferent about the sale, or you
No. If I would have been in my hands, I would be happy. But I see these people. I honestly don't. We were seeing how this goes with the people we know.
Yeah. What you're saying.
If it would be you, so if there would be an option of someone I know and I.
Yeah, but I think like Alexander is going on the trip. He has bought a ticket. I would fully trust him.
I guess.
To go to the place.
But no, my issue is not the picking up part.
Is that the transfer?
Yeah. Well, how the fuck? I'm not gonna make Alex to fucking like that. See,
he probably wants to. Like, it's one ski lift. I could like bring me this ticket. I buy you a lunch. Then we get a lunch with Alex. You saved us £700. I would not have any issue asking him that.
No, but Sebastian, he's gonna have other things to do this morning. He's maybe
wants to ski.
yeah, exactly, but not to fucking Meribel just to give us tickets.
It's one lift. It's one lift. He can go left or he can go right. Then he just decides to go left the first day.
These people are fucking. See, it's because of these things, Sebastian, that I don't trust people.
Yeah, but you should just do your own thing.
You make a good point with Alexander. So you're saying we should buy a fucking ticket? How much is it?
I don't see it. Not like if you don't care and you don't want to run the risk. Like I understand with the party thing because there is like either all of us have it or all of us don't. But for the actual ski pass, I mean, if you're uncomfortable with it, then just don't buy it and then leave the headache to the rest of us. It's not like they're gonna throw out our passes. I mean, of course they have to write. You have to pick it up no later than this.
Where am I skiing?
All three.
Thanks.
We do get a small discount if all of us book together. Anyways, like if we book.
Let's just talk for the two of us because that's just how how we're gonna do it, right? We don't care about what other people do. 9. Well, it's not Saturday to Sunday. No fixed date for me. It's dates of stay. What is it? 16th, 9th for me. I'm not gonna ski on. Well, I'm not gonna ski on the 15th. I have a 5-hour drive.
I'm not sure how I'm gonna get home, frankly.
Like the other guys.
Yeah, but they want an earlier. They want a later flight than me, and I need to fly to Copenhagen.
Well, then you come with me.
Then I need to fly on the 15th. I could do that, but then we just have the apartment. We pay for the apartment for one day where we're not going to use it.
Just don't tell anybody, they won't realize.
No, they probably don't care. Okay, so I'll wait to see what they say.
Yeah, they don't say anything, no? Right, yes, he makes a point, Charles makes a point, well, Alex.
No, but I mean. So Charles is only talking about like the party thing, right?
I mean, he was
part
also saying about, he's all talking about sheep ski pass.
I know who's part of this, participants. Oh shit, the people that actually has ticket. Ah, okay, Titouan is also here because he had one initiative.
I want a fucking ski ticket, I don't wanna sleep. What the fuck? I don't have to.
No, it's too complicated. I just want a ski pass. Join Snow Club. Lifetime membership. Let's go. What the fuck? How do I see these?
I sent the link in the group. Calculate prices of your pass. Type of pass? Travailler, right? And then how many days?
6 days.
I'm gonna do
5.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday,
Yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday, 5. 1 day of activity? What the fuck?
First day will be the 10th. You won't ski on the 9th.
Yeah, we will ski on the 9th.
Isn't that the Saturday?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
280. Yeah, it's the same. I don't know why they have age ranges in that case. Compared to 190 pounds.
$90 to have or not to have.
So what do you do here? Ah, okay. So we're trying to get both, or we try to get the.
Let's try to get both.
Press.
Let's try to get both and then we see.
And is it refreshing? Let's see if my fucking Windows laptop will show up.
What time do you refresh? 55?
7 sharp.
I have the seconds here if you want to see the seconds.
I don't see them. Ah, okay, so it's in 5 seconds now.
Fuck, I missed it.